Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Find a Moment podcast, where we navigate the space between ideals and everyday life. We are your hosts, Gretchen Roberts and Jennifer Ford, and we look forward to finding a moment with you today.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Find a Moment podcast. We are so excited for this new series called Meet the Artists. And if you haven't listened to our introductory episode, please check that out, where we talked about it was an introduction to cultivating beauty in the ordinary moments, where we just kind of set up our goals and plans for this series. So be sure to listen to that if you haven't. And we are excited as we go through that we are going to introduce you to various artists of various ages and different fields of art that they are involved in. And so they can just have an opportunity to share their story. So Jennifer, would you like to introduce our guest for today?
It would be my honor. So we're excited to bring on actually our youngest ever guest.
Yes.
I think, and my firstborn, Amelia. So welcome to Find a Moment.
Hi, thank you. I'm really excited to be on here today. I've listened to almost all of the episodes so far and re-listened to the first one today, actually on the way to school.
Oh, fun.
Yay. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? You can start with age and what your school situation is.
So I'm 17 years old. I'm at college I'm taking college courses at the community college, CFCC, but I'm still a junior in high school. I'm just doing all of my classes there for dual enrollment. I play the violin. I've played it for 6 years. I'm in the orchestra. I like to surf. I have a lot of cats.
Basic teen girl stuff.
And I really like art, which is the reason I'm on here today.
Yay.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about some of your kind of early memories of art. And I'm not going to give you a whole lot of prompting because I have my own memories.
I've got a good one.
Yeah.
I've got a really good one.
Let's start there.
So I remember, and actually on the way here I drove past it, our old greenhouse, and it made me think of it. When I was about 4 or 5, I went outside, and I don't remember what made me want to do it, but I went outside, and on the side of our house next to the door, under the doorbell, I drew a picture of our family,
Yes,
these
you
little
did.
stick figures.
Oh, I love
And I remember there
that.
were some mixed reactions about my drawing on the house. But I don't think we ever erased it. But that was like a kind of a moment I remember of, taking my art and taking what I liked to do and kind of putting that in kind of, I guess, like a family setting and kind of having that make a memory for our family.
Oh, I do remember when we sold that house, and you said a greenhouse. It wasn't like a greenhouse where you grow plants. The house itself was green.
Oh, yeah, we call it the greenhouse. It
We
is a
do.
greenhouse.
So, but I remember when we put the house up for sale, Carrie and I were like, do we clean that off? Do we paint over that? And we were like, nope, we leave it.
Oh, I love that.
And it was probably like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 inches.
It wasn't big at all.
It was
It was
very
really
small.
small.
Yeah.
And
like
what did you
with
draw
pencil.
it with?
Just a pencil.
Oh,
But it was where the rain couldn't get to, under the porch, like kind of the porch ceiling. So it's probably still there if they haven't taken it off.
I know they
maybe
haven't
they have
repainted.
2 girls.
Aw. So in our introduction, we talked about a lot of the different disciplines for artistic expression, like cooking and painting, landscape design, interior design. There's so many different ways that people can express creativity. And so I'm wondering, especially as your mom, because I feel like I've tried to be really intentional with exposing you to artists and to beauty and things like that all through your childhood. But I'm wondering what some of your earliest memories of exposure to art might be.
So I guess, I know for a fact you've done a good job because I can think of a lot and I'll have to kind of pick 1 or 2. But I remember you took me to the Festival of Trees. I think it was at the aquarium one year and at some museum one year, but I remember walking in there and all of the lights of the trees being like so beautiful. And that was definitely like for a child especially, that's a big thing. I remember in like CC and in Gratia when we'd make, I think it was in Gratia, we made the little crowns and put all those little sticky gems on them. Aww. And I was like addicted to those things. Like anything shiny, I would like hoard it.
Still today.
It's absolutely. And so you should see my jewelry collection. And so I remember just all of the home crafts that we would do, and we always had a bunch of chalk at our house. Like there was definitely ample like art supplies. There was always, an opportunity to sit down and do that, or watch a show with something in it, or read a book, or you'd show us pictures, or you encourage us to make up our own. So I would say there's been a lot, so much so that I can't remember all of it, but I know there has been a lot.
So what types of art and creative things have you kind of been most drawn to that have continued to be an interest for you? Like with all those exposures of like, handicrafts and music and drawing or painting, like what are the things that have kind of captured your imagination?
I would say there's kind of 3 or 4 main ones. Definitely drawing. Like I will draw on any piece of paper I'm given, even in class. Definitely 100% music. That actually might be the biggest one, is music. Painting, I love painting. And any type of handicraft. I like to sew. I'm not very good at it, but I like to sew, and I really like making jewelry with the seed beads and stuff. We have way too much art supplies at our house. Like
So true.
So much.
It's like a little Hobby Lobby.
It is.
Can we come shopping at your house?
Absolutely.
Bring a bag, yes.
And you also like to bake, right?
Oh yes, I love baking and decorating cakes and cupcakes. I didn't really think about that, but I do love baking a lot. The creative side, the decorative side.
Mm-hmm.
Piping. You're really good with piping.
Mm-hmm. I
Piping,
like
icing.
decorating, yeah.
And are these things that you just practiced over time, or are they things like, did you take specific classes for drawing or classes on cake decorating? Like, how did you cultivate that?
So I've taken a couple like drawing classes, art classes, but they weren't, middle school art classes kind of teaches you more, the basics like fine art, like you draw the shapes, and then, you have to talk about color and value, and all of that's really, really important. But to an 8th grader who's really bored in that class, who already knows all that, who already does art at home, I didn't enjoy those as much. I haven't taken any baking classes yet. I want to eventually, but...
That's amazing that you have not had a class on piping. And you will have to share, so if you're okay with it, we'll have to share some pictures of your creations. Like that is, I've seen some of your cakes. Like that's amazing to think about.
It's so fun. And you get to eat it after.
Right.
And I know for a fact my family does not hate the fact that I have made a hobby out of baking.
Maybe it's worth mentioning that my mom, so your grandmother, used to make wedding cakes when I was young. That was one of the things that she did to earn money. She did floral design, massive floral arrangements for our church.
I love arranging flowers too. That's
and
another
you're
thing.
actually really good at that. I'll take a picture of it and send it to Mima, and she'll say, "Great composition."
Oh, I love it.
You do have an eye for that, though. Definitely.
Going off on a tangent, even things like putting on, like when I put on makeup or do my hair, or like pick out an outfit. And to, I guess, a lot of, girls out there who put on makeup that are listening to this, or women, or when you do that, I know a lot of people, there's some people who think, I need this, like I only put this on out of necessity, it's not fun, I feel like I have to put it on to go out. But if you can get to the point where it's artistic, that's one thing for me is, I wear makeup to school every day. I don't wear a lot. I don't wear foundation every day to school. But I do like the artistic part of it, like putting on lip liner or picking out which blush to use. I have too many. Lots of different colors. But it's kind of also a daily artistic thing you get to do, and kind of a grounding thing, and doing your hair too.
That's really interesting. So I have one daughter and then a lot of boys. So I don't have a lot of experience even recently with that, but I can think like some moms could potentially feel like, oh, I don't want my daughter spending all this time doing her hair and makeup. But like you're saying, this is a way to begin your day with creativity and kind of to feed that need of creating something. And that's a whole different way of thinking about it, right?
I know that I have definitely had seasons where it was when you were in middle school and you were just starting to get into wearing makeup more often. And I do my hair and makeup every day. I can go for several days without having to do anything to my hair because it's just easy for me. But that's something that I enjoy. It's definitely a creativity thing. And I will admit that when you were first starting to get into that, I did question, have I set an unhealthy precedent with that? Like, have I made this look like something that is expected of you on a daily basis? And I actually talked to another mom about it, and she has all boys. And her response was, if you keep it in its proper place, it's just femininity. It's beauty. It's a way to be creative. And that gave me a little bit of reassurance because there was a time when I thought, oh no, have I set a standard or an expectation that is not healthy? But I do see that you kind of, Amelia, you kind of have varying levels of, how much you do depending on
it depends
how much time
on where
you
I'm
have.
going.
And
I'm like, if I'm going to like a party, I'll put on more, but if I'm just going to school, like, I don't really put on a lot there.
Yeah. What type of art would you say that you are drawn to on a regular basis? What do you do the most?
Obviously, unless you like have a studio or like have a designated space, painting is kind of hard to always have out and always be working on. So it would probably end up being between painting and music if I had painting, like a space to do painting constantly, leave it out. But I have 5 cats, and so they will walk all over a painting on purpose. So I can't do that. So either drawing, just like drawing on a sketchbook or on my notebooks during class, which is every day. But also music I practice, violin every day, and I have orchestra during the week and a lesson. So that's probably my most, that and just sketching random stuff on random sheets of paper are probably my most consistent kind of everyday, every other day kind of deal.
What was the most recent thing that you drew that you were pleased with?
Oh, that I was pleased with. Oh my gosh, there's so much. Not so much that I'm pleased with. That sounds like a boasting, but so much that I've drawn.
What's something recent?
I did a sketch in my notebook actually in school yesterday in class of a character I had come up with, and it looked pretty good. The hair was decent.
You're great with hair.
I'd say that. And I did a sketch of a girl that I saw on Pinterest. I did a sketch of her in my notebook the other day. We were watching a movie and I was drawing it, and I wasn't happy with the face, how it turned out, but the clothing I did do really well on like the folds of the clothing. Oh, wow. So I'd say that.
What type of paper and pencils or pens did you use?
I used Prismacolor colored pencils and just like a random notebook. It was like a sketchbook, but it has darker paper, so the colored pencil kind of pops out more on it.
Do you like colored pencil? Is that one of your go-tos?
I've been getting into it a lot more lately, definitely, because we have a ton. Again, just like over the years, we've accumulated all these, pencils. So I've just been trying to use them more.
Is there any medium that you don't like to use?
Yes, unpopular opinion, oil pastels completely stink. I hate them. I hate them so much. I love how it looks when I can get it right, but that is probably the hardest medium for me, and I don't know why. I cannot get oil pastels right. I can't ever do it. And chalk pastels just smudge everywhere, and I don't like charcoal.
Yes.
I don't like charcoal.
What's interesting is a lot of people who paint would say that watercolor is very difficult, and
I love watercolor.
You are really strong with watercolor. I can remember getting the little 8-count Crayola sets.
Yes, I remember
like just
those.
the single strip that comes with that awful plastic.
The yellow paintbrush with the yellow handle.
Yes, I can remember giving you that when you were like maybe 3 at the oldest, out on the sidewalk in front of the greenhouse.
That's cute.
And you and Marley would sit out there, and you'd be down there painting, like dipping your brush. Yeah.
So what kind of things do you watercolor? What do you like to paint with watercolor?
A lot of different things. Landscapes are really, really good for watercolor, but I'm not really, really good for landscapes. I definitely enjoy drawing people more, coloring people, and characters. I've been trying to get more into realism lately instead of kind of more of like a stylized genre of art, but I'd say mostly just paint characters and different kind of little doodles. I really like floral stuff. I love doing florals with watercolors.
So I would love, or we would love if you would be willing to share some pictures of some of your work too, and we can put that on our show notes page.
Absolutely.
That would be really fun.
Yes, please.
Get someone to sponsor me.
You've talked about having the supplies and things ready. Are there other things that kind of cultivated or continued to inspire you as you were, going from the doorbell drawing at 4?
I'd say probably, first of all, just having a family that is into that kind of stuff. My parents and my sister are all very creative people, just in different ways, of course. But especially, like, my mom, she, like, you have always had, like, an eye for beauty and I guess, like, an eye for art, and kind of tried to incorporate that, like, into our education and, like, just kind of our everyday lives and stuff. So probably just starting, like, having an appetite for that stuff, just because I've been exposed to it and, like, shown the stuff and showed that it's, like, good to want to be an artist and create art, and it's not just about, like, doing what everyone else is doing, like, just doing the academic stuff. Like, it's, being creative is also a good, outlet. So probably just, like, having, like, a family that likes that stuff. But then also one specific thing I can think of is my old best friend. She would always be drawing, and she was actually both of them. I just realized both of them. My two best friends, we were in, like, a little triplet group, I guess. And the two of them were always both really good artists, and I really liked their styles. And so it pushed me to keep kind of, from a very young age, we've known each other since, like, 3 or 4, to always kind of, not, like, to necessarily keep up with them in a way, but also to just kind of be inspired by their art. And their styles were both very different from mine and from each other, but it always kind of inspired me to keep up my art and keep doing what I'm doing. And even now, we still, all three, will get together once in a while and draw, even 10 years later, 11 years later, still doing the same thing, and our styles are all completely different again now. But probably just having the people around me. My grandparents always loved my art, and my sister too, so it's kind of just the people around me being supportive of it, which is the biggest thing, I'd say.
I love that.
We mentioned this briefly on our introductory episode, but I feel like the internal narrative of an artist is worth mentioning. And I think it would be a good thing for you to maybe talk about, what are you saying to yourself in your mind? Kind of what are your internal thoughts while you're working on something, and where is there tension? What direction do your internal thoughts normally go in when you're working on something? Because everything that you do, I look at it and I'm like, literally I said this to you the other day when you were working on something, literally nobody else in this house could come anywhere close to that. It's magnificent. And she, what was your response?
Oh, it doesn't look right. It doesn't look how I want it to look.
The proportions aren't right. This isn't right. So kind of open your head up for us a little bit and tell us about your internal narrative. And is that something that is happening the whole time that you're working, but then it just comes out of your mouth when I compliment you? Or is that, like, tell us what that's like, being in your head while you're working on something.
Not gonna lie, sometimes I just completely space out. And there's no thoughts. Like, it's just kind of
like autopilot?
The void. Oh. Yep, autopilot. But I'd say a lot of the times, which I don't know if this is good or not, I'll watch TV or, like, put on a show or, like, listen to a podcast while I draw. So that kind of fills up the empty space. So I'm not really, I don't have this, maybe other people do, but I don't have this person in my head going, oh my goodness, that shirt you just drew looks like awfulness. It looks so bad. Like, at the end, if I look at it, I'm like, from a technical standpoint, that girl needs help. She cannot draw. But I don't really have this, like, I guess, voice, like, the whole time going, oh my goodness, you just totally messed up that shirt. It's also not going, oh, you just aced that. That hair looks so good that you just drew. Oh, that looks wonderful. It's kind of just there. I'm kind of just there, and it's peaceful, but I also kind of just space out, not gonna lie.
That's interesting to think that in that creative process is like a quieting of your mind instead of thoughts racing or stressful. Like it's a peaceful, quiet. Like that is really interesting to think about.
Mm-hmm. Which is nice. It's like a fun thing to do, especially to wind down. I'm so tired at night from school and everything now. I just go to bed. But when I was younger, I used to, take my sketchbook up to my bed and I'd draw till I fell asleep. Now I just think about my math test the next day before I fall asleep.
So do you feel like when you're you're in like a science class or a math class or something that's totally not art, something that's not an art class, and you're drawing, does it help you to pay attention? Like, are you paying attention better?
100%. Absolutely. Drawing? I'd say because it kind of quiets my mind, I naturally have like a lot of thoughts going on. But when it does quiet my mind, I can actually focus better. And I've actually had to, explain to teachers before, like, hey, this is like an actual thing. Like, and it sounds like the pick-me girl, like, I can't focus. But, but I genuinely, sometimes I can't. Now, some classes, I genuinely have to just put the paper down and, copy down what the slides are saying. And, look at the teacher and see what she's showing us. But I'd say it really does help in two. I naturally am just kind of a fidgety person. So it kind of helps, keep my hands busy and just keep my thoughts kind of quiet. And I have other classmates that do that too. In some classes, nobody else is sketching. Some classes, majority of the people in there like at least have a pencil in their hand just messing around. Too, it's interesting to see how other people kind of deal with it too.
Mm-hmm. So when you were younger, put you both on the spot. So when you were younger and homeschooling, was that something you would do? Like if your mom is reading aloud to you, would you be drawing?
Yeah, absolutely. She would also, you always encouraged that too. Like we would always, she'd do read alouds, or sometimes she'd want us to do a written narration after, but sometimes she'd like let us draw like what was going on in the story, or doing like a drawing narration, which I always really loved. But it'd take me way too long because my perfectionistic self was like, it has to be Renaissance art. Second grader, it has to look right. But definitely she would always, you'd encourage that. And both me and my sister would draw or paint or whatever during when she's reading to us.
Yeah, I remember, this is kind of homeschool, like nerding out on homeschool stuff, but we did a lot that was Charlotte Mason aligned. And one of the things, narration is something that you do after you read or listen to anything. And a lot of people there was always conversation on the forums with people talking about narration. And, there's spoken narration, but then people would talk about written narration. And in some of I don't know which one it is, in one of the Charlotte Mason volumes, she talks about the progression of written narration and starting with, actually before written narration, doing like clay or using objects to like create and act out, and then go into drawing narration and then written narration. So I don't know, it just, the drawing narration always helped me kind of get that box checked, because we don't always love the written narration stuff. We even did artist and picture study.
Oh yeah.
And remember, you guys would recreate the paintings.
I remember that we'd have to do like own versions of the paintings, and I think sometimes we'd even reenact them, like put on clothes to like pretend to be them and take pictures.
Yep, we did that with
Dad always loved this.
We did that with a Vermeer.
Yeah, like with
on the stairs.
Holding Lillian.
Yeah, with the cat. It was a cat instead of a baby.
Yep.
I love that.
We should like link the painting, the description, and be like, imagine this painting with a cat instead of the baby. Yeah. We gotta remember that.
That is awesome.
Well, one of the things we touch on in most of our episodes is navigating the space between ideals and everyday life. And so I want to hear from you a little bit. What is the teen girl version of your ideals when it comes to expressing yourself as an artist? And then I want to hear from you, like, what's everyday life? And that's really broad. Like, you can...
Yeah. Like, my ideals on what type of art?
Anything.
Or just any... Oh.
That is very open-ended.
Okay.
Open to interpretation.
I'd say, for me, personally, some ideals have come from, like, what being an artist or not being an artist, just as simple as that, before we kind of get into the expectations. If it's already established that you are an artist, sometimes the kids that are drawing in class, or the kids that are, have a sketchbook with them when they're walking around, or, kind of seem not to depend on that, but to seem to be, pretty attached to it can be kind of labeled as, oh, that's the weird kid. Oh, she's by herself. She's drawing. She doesn't have friends, Oh, she can't pay attention in class. You kind of get this, like, oh, what are you drawing? Oh, can you draw me? That's, like, one thing everyone always says, oh, can you draw a picture of me? And you're like, I really hope I don't make this person look so bad on this piece of paper. And you're like, oh, maybe later. But probably just the kind of the stereotype that comes when someone's like, oh, you're drawing. What are you drawing? Oh, I'm drawing a character I made up. There's kind of this, I think TikTok has also kind of encouraged the kind of artist kid as the, like, quote, I'm doing air quotes, weird kid stereotype, which that isn't a thing. You're not a weird kid. You're just like what you like. I think just kind of the stereotyping that comes with that, and not really giving people
kind of the freedom to you can be an artist of any kind of personality.
Absolutely,
or
and I think just kind of a little more, just giving a little more understanding with, that for some people it's like their whole personality, for some people it's just a hobby they do at home. But I think kind of opening that up to kind of everyone and not having a stereotype.
So are you saying that would be the ideal?
That for me, I'm saying that's like an ideal that people are held to, is like, oh, you draw, oh, you must be like that, like, quirky weird kid that sits by themselves. Oh, you like, that's not with everything, but like you're drawing in class, oh, you can't sit still, oh, you've got mental things, like
you're thinking like a stereotype.
That's I'm saying that's like an ideal that people have for artists, or like maybe that's, I don't know, like that's
because I think when we talk about ideals, we're like, okay,
ideal,
all the dishes are done, everything's tidy,
like an ideal life.
Yes, like idealistic.
No, but I like that.
Oh my goodness.
I think that's important, though,
your stereotype.
That's like society's ideal, is like you have to be like fit this form to be like an artist, like truly in your art you have to be like all in or
that's
not
your
at
identity
all.
almost. Yeah. And do you feel like it is a common thing in kind of your generation or teens that to kind of put people in the box of sports person or art person?
Absolutely. Like throughout literally all human history, that's why we have things like, oh, you're the dumb jock, you're the you're the ballerina girl, you're the the popular girl or whatever. Like, I think it all comes with that kind of society wanting to put boxes and labels on everyone, which just doesn't work.
It's very identity driven. Very like we want to measure and label things.
Absolutely.
Like if you lived your ideal life and you got to live an ideal life as an artist, an ideal being like the best it could be,
just for my art supplies.
A what?
A mansion just for my art supplies.
I love that.
That's kind of a joke, but no, I'd have like a whole giant studio. I will one day. I promise y'all. Come back to this. But I'd say for me, just living my ideals, I'd have more time. I really would just genuinely have more time to devote to my art and to get better. And I'd actually want to study anatomy for art, because I really don't. And if you're an artist, I want to draw people, but I don't want to study how to draw people, because it's boring until you get good at it. For me, I'd say honestly, the biggest thing is just have more time to do it, and more just quiet time to sit down and do the art, and just like be creative without thinking, oh, I'm doing this now, but in 30 minutes I have to go write an essay that's due in a week. I'd just say more time, honestly.
So then everyday life for you, which is not the ideals, like sometimes we hit the ideals once in a while, right? What's everyday life for you like as an artist? How are you
just kind of fitting it in when I can, like drawing in class, or sometimes instead of, you could look at my room right now, instead of doing laundry, I'll draw. It's kind of what I've been doing this week. But I'd say for me, everyday life is just kind of fitting it in when I can, and I do have good supplies and stuff at my fingertips, and I'm very grateful for that, very thankful, because not everybody has that. But for me, I'd say real life just looks like just fitting it in when I can, and not kind of battling myself to think, like when I think, oh, it has to be perfect, oh, it has to look great, oh, I have to have like 3 hours to do this painting, or like I'm not going to do it at all, instead of saying, oh, I'll work on it for 30 minutes now, and then after dinner I'll another 20 minutes, and then maybe next week I'll have time to do it after cheer, or after my lesson. But just kind of fitting it in when I can. I went way too
That
long.
that is so good to think about
Kind of your first.
of kind of the struggle of balancing your time, of these commitments of schoolwork and, all these other classes, and then wanting to have the time for that. And when you're working on your art, to have in your mind, oh, in 30 minutes I have to go work on this essay. Like, I can see that would be really...
It doesn't let it be that peaceful thing it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Well, so as your mom, we talk about this a lot, but I would love for you to share with everybody else, where do you envision art fitting in for yourself in your future? Because a lot of people would say, the people who see your work would be so quick to say, oh my word, you have to pursue this professionally. You have a future in design, or with Pixar or with Disney, or there's so many opportunities. So where do you see yourself, where do you see art fitting into your life in your future? Because you're 17, you're already doing college classwork. So where does art fit in?
First of all, you're making me sound really good. You should go work for Disney. Oh my goodness.
Well, you should.
I'm flattered.
You could.
I'd say for me, I don't want to pursue it as a career. I already have a career picked out, which, that could change, but I don't see, I've talked to art teachers and seen professional artists online, and it's just so hard to make a living out of doing the art you want to do. You make money off of working for a company, drawing what they want you to draw, or getting commissioned to draw or to paint, and you're not drawing what you want to draw or painting what you want to paint. You are doing what people ask you to, which is the whole reason they're paying you and the whole reason you could make a living off of that. But for me, I'd say it would be hard to have that as my job, and I feel like it kind of just my personality, I'd kind of lose a little bit of the luster and the shine, because I'd have to do it and I couldn't just do it when I want to. But I'd say maybe minoring in something artistic and majoring in my career that I'm choosing, which is right now physical therapy. I'd say just keep pursuing it, because I love drawing and I love doing art of all kinds, but not doing it professionally, but just keeping it in my home life, and definitely exposing my kids and hopefully hubby to all of the art and all of the supplies.
I'm sure they will love your baking also.
Absolutely.
Beautiful piping.
Yeah.
So really, it sounds like you're saying the art side of you is kind of what rounds you out and makes this whole human being, that you can have a career that's something else, but incorporating the arts kind of brings that cohesion of you as a whole person.
Because it's in so much of, that's absolutely right. I'd say that's in so much of the things I do. And I guess you could, when you think of art, you think of, a painting or a drawing, or, if you want to get a little, bigger with it and think about more of the full picture, drawing is kind of what most people think of. You can branch out to things like baking or making jewelry or music, definitely music. Architecture, there's some nail design. My sister does nails. That's definitely an artistic thing that I could never do. There's so many different types of art out there, and it really can kind of reach into every part of your life if you want it to, if you try to get it to, even down to what you eat, as dessert.
Right. So do you think you'll continue with music, with your violin? And
Absolutely, 100%. I would say I was actually asked this 2 nights ago by my grandma. She was like, we were on the phone, do you think you'll keep playing when you get out of college, or keep playing when you're have a family? And I said, absolutely. It's such a big part of my life, and I've found definitely a lot of a purpose through my teen years, a consistent, even through COVID, through started in 7th grade when I went into orchestra at, I guess I was young, 12 and 11, which is a really formative age, and I was able to find my people, and we've all stayed in it together, and I hope to kind of stay in that environment with those people as long as I can.
So it sounds like you have had quite a bit of community through art, like your friends who you draw with, and then the musicians. So it kind of is an outlet for you as far as your creativity and to help quiet your mind. But then it also provides people and community and friendship and relationships. So that's really neat.
Absolutely, yeah. It's definitely provided a really like a good healthy community too, because most artists know if you draw something, every other person and their mom is going to have something to say about what you just drew, whether they like it a lot and think you should work for Pixar, or whether they think you're a weird kid. I've gotten both. So I think it really does kind of, artists have this understanding with each other, and musicians just, we kind of all understand each other, I'd guess, in different ways, you know.
There's that common thread. Yeah, that's really neat.
I love getting to hear you. I mean, we talk about this a lot because I'm your mom, but I am really proud of you, especially as an artist and a musician and as a person.
Well, thank you.
Especially. But I'm glad that the rest of the world gets to hear your voice as a young person and kind of how your artistic side is informing the decisions that you're making for your future. Because not everybody who is an artist, you know, your sister has different plans.
She's pursuing her
she
art.
wants
Yeah,
to pursue that, so we'll get to have a conversation
Yes, that'll
with her
be
too.
that's good.
So we like to wrap up our conversations with action steps. So I'm going to ask you to give 2. Will you give an action step to a young person who is figuring out who they are as a creative person? And then I'm going to ask you to give an action step for parents who are wanting to prioritize and foster creativity in their home for their families.
Okay, so no pressure. The whole world can hear this. But I'd say for young artists, like, guys, it sounds corny, it sounds cheesy. Please don't stop doing what you like to do. I can't imagine. Have been so many times, especially with violin, because it is such a challenge. It's not just something easy I can do effortlessly. I've had to put in, you know, hundreds and hundreds of hours of work. I would say, don't stop doing it. There has been so many times I've wanted to quit, so many tears, so many times where I'm like, I'm done. It's going in the garbage. No more violin, no more art. But if you just keep going, sometimes you need to take a break. It is healthy to not draw for, you know, however long you need to, or to not paint for, you know, a year even. But just don't drop it forever. Please pick it back up, and don't let it cause you stress trying to do it if you don't feel like doing it. Sometimes a break is good. But don't stop it permanently, because when you start seeing progress, it is like mind-blowing when you've kind of been on the same level for a long time, and then you draw something or paint something or sing something or, you know, play something, and you're like, is that me? Did I just do that? Wait a minute. And, you know, and your friends are like, was that you? I don't remember you being able to do like that or play like that. And it kind of, you get this, I guess, you know, this moment where you realize, oh my goodness, I've made this progress and I sound or look or whatever phenomenal, and I'm doing a great job. And it's because you didn't quit, and you could not get to that point if you just, you know, throw the instrument down when you're done. So I'd say please just keep going and have fun, and don't be scared of what the people sitting next to you in class are going to say about your drawing, because they probably could not draw it.
So what would you say, can I piggyback on your call to action? What would you say to someone who enjoys drawing or painting or playing music, but they feel like they are their biggest critic and that they're really hard on themselves? Like, what advice would you give to them to keep going or to change that narrative in their mind?
I'd say, first of all, that is the most normal thing. Like, there's a reason people go online and are like, oh, you know, I'm my biggest critic, you know, whatever. It is the most normal thing in your brain to criticize yourself in a way that literally no one else could, because you have this picture, sometimes literally this picture in your head of what you want it to look like, and nobody else can see that. They just see what you've drawn, but you can see the comparison that they can't see, or what you've played, and they cannot see that, and you could see it, and you're going, this does not look anything like what I had in my mind. But these people are going, that's crazy, I could never. But I would just say it's normal, and I don't really think there is a way, you know, I'm 17, I don't think there is a way to stop thinking necessarily about, you know, what you could be doing better, and it's a good thing. I would say mostly just try to speak as positively to yourself as you can, and don't ask the opinions of someone who is negative all the time, you know, like you can be selective with who you show your art to. You don't have to show it to everyone. You don't have to play for everyone. You know, you don't have to sing for everyone. You can kind of pick and choose your audience. You're allowed to. You're the entertainer. I would say mostly just, I don't know, if you have people that can encourage you on it, just ask their opinion. They will encourage you. They will tell you what is true, that it looks good, you sound good. The critic it's always there, but it isn't always true, you know?
That is so good. Thank you.
Do you have any advice for parents who want to foster creativity for their children?
Just always encourage them, especially if you're a parent of a young kid. I know my parents have done this and still do this. If your child's art looks like complete, like, rubbish, don't tell them that. No young parent is ever going to tell them that. My parents have always, if it looks like trash, they will lie to me. They will say, this looks phenomenal. No, I was going in the right direction. Like, my parents have always done this, just been so supportive of literally anything I have ever drawn. I could draw a stick on a piece of paper and they'd be like, put this in the museum, put it next to Picasso. You know what, kick Picasso out. This looks so fantastic. This looks great. So just be supportive. You have no idea how much it means to an artist, 7 years old or 17-year-old, just to go, oh my goodness, this is crazy. And they're going to go, no, it's not. It looks terrible. I've never done worse. It looks terrible. And you're going to go, no, it looks phenomenal, baby. It looks great. Aww. And they're going to go, maybe it does look great. In your head, it's going to change, and maybe it's going to be a week later, and they look at it again. They pull it out from their, desk and go, Mom said this looks pretty good. Maybe it actually does look pretty good. Or maybe they won't. Who knows? But I would say just be encouraging. And another thing is, I've had the opportunity to get a lot of supplies. Like my parents and my grandparents, and my sister have all been very supportive of what I like to do, whether it's a violin or a new set of pencils or the piping tips that Dad bought me, like a box of 50 of them because I nagged him for like a week. Just not everybody can afford or, has the time to get all of these fancy things, but just anything you can get your hands on. If you see that pack of crayons at the store for your 2-year-old and you can pick them up, pick them up. If you can't, that's okay. But I'd say just get as much as you can, not necessarily just physical stuff, but also that encouragement from you. Just supplies isn't just the things that they're holding in their hand. It's also kind of the mental feed they're getting from everyone around them, from the audience too. That is also a big thing, because you can have the nicest pencils, the nicest watercolor set, like $100 brushes, and if someone goes, that looks terrible, you're gonna throw it all away. Like, you will not care about your supplies. But if you have the cheapest crayons ever, and someone goes, oh my goodness, that's amazing, can you draw me one? You're gonna draw it. Even if you can't even talk yet, you're still you're as a child, you're still going to want to get that feedback again, so you're gonna do that again.
That's good, baby.
I love that.
That's good. I love that the world is getting to meet you through this conversation, especially this particular conversation, because you are creative through and through. And I have loved watching you grow as a creative person and just about adult, which is wild. But the world needs what you have to offer. And I would encourage every parent to have that view with their children. We are all made with creativity that is needing to be and wanting to be expressed. And so, Amelia, thank you for finding a moment with us.
Well, thank you for having me on here. This was so fun. I've been nagging you. When do I get to be on the podcast? When do I get to be interviewed? And now I am. So thank you. It's cool. I'm going to be on Spotify. Hey, guys. This is crazy.
I love it.
Thanks, babe.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me on here. This was so fun.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Got to geek out for a minute about my art.
I love it.